the line. Long run for Laureano, and he runs it, and the Mets win the ball game.
Kevin Buck, Michael Merlo, The Burrows, episode 46. Sorry for a little bit of a wait there, 11:10 on Friday. And we're going to be discussing a lot today, especially with the two teams. We're going to start with this Mets series. Mike, they went 8-3 on Tuesday, then lose 4-3, go for the series yesterday, and you only score on those two Soto home runs. Nice to see him finally get the monkey off his back at Citi Field, not only get one, but two. Nobody else does anything. They lose 4-2, and I don't think you're thrilled about the way that this series went, Mike.
I'm not, and I think a lot of it is the way the series was managed, especially the last two games. I mean, we could say this, right? They lost because they didn't hit with runners in scoring position. I mean, they had chances Wednesday night with the bases loaded, nobody out in the ninth inning, and they only get one run. They had chances second and third, one out in the bottom of the eighth, down one on Thursday afternoon. And like not converting in those situations are the reasons why you lost the game. But I don't think the manager helped them out much, to be completely honest with you, Kevin. This is the first time in a while where I'm sitting here saying on back-to-back days, more so Wednesday night than Thursday afternoon, that I have serious issues with the way the manager managed his bullpen and the entire game.
I'll say that I think this is the first time really in the year and a half now, year plus that we've been doing this show, that you have had a gripe with Mendoza after a series, because obviously he got leeway for the team in the beginning of the season last year from us, just starting out, first-time manager, team wasn't all that great, and now we...
That's a crazy That's a crazy comment, man.
Happy Friday to all of us. All of us. But yeah, Mendoza, you haven't really complained about him all year. Now you come on here popping chest and you're talking about how this guy blew the series against the D-backs. But I don't know. Like, is there anything to be said either about the schedule was pretty easy? I'm not saying they're worse than the Diamondbacks. I don't think they are. And I think they are one of the top 2-3 teams in the entire league, no matter how you slice it up. They're probably the best team in the league, no matter how you slice it up. But this is a nice little wake-up call, I think, for the Mets and their bats facing Arizona, getting a little bit of a taste here in the beginning of May now, as we're on May 2nd, of what the top of the NL actually looks like.
I can't read too much into the schedule thing. Like, you're playing these teams.
Yeah, I agree.
This is who you're playing, and you're the best team in baseball. Okay, like, you're beating up on the teams that you're supposed to. So that's that. The Arizona series, sure. Like, they come out firing in game one. They dominate the game. Great defense, hitting, pitching, everything. Dominate the game. And then they have chances the last two nights and just can't convert. I mean, that's what it comes down to for me is, A, you mismanaged the bullpen, and we'll get into that right now. But B, you had your chances to win the baseball game on multiple occasions, and you couldn't come through. I mean, not even a sac fly, Kevin. Not even a ground ball to the right side to move the guy from second to third. Not even that. That was impossible for this team over the last 48 hours, especially Mr. Mark Vientos, whose numbers look great right now. Granted, 1 3-run shot is off of Ahmed Rosario, but okay, this guy, situational hitting impossible. Guys with runners in scoring position, he's hitting like 110. I mean, it's just brutal what this guy has done with in big spots this season.
Wednesday's game was the biggest tease ever, too. The whole game, but especially that ninth inning, they load up the bases, and they just can't get the final run across to at least extend the game to extras. You were there at the game, free food for you at the game. At least you had that, but disappointing one for the Mets, disappointing series for the Mets. But, you know, I don't even know, like, if I want to criticize Mendoza here. I think I'm going to leave it to you today to do it, but I'm trying not to get too discouraged about a 3-game stand at the end of April.
I'm not. I'm going to get discouraged. You know why, Kevin? Last season, why did the Mets make the playoffs? Why did the Mets make the playoffs?
Because Jose Iglesias released that song.
No, like legitimately, why did they make the playoffs over a team with the same record as them?
I don't know, Mike. Why did they make the playoffs over a team with the same record?
Because they had a tiebreaker over the freaking Diamondbacks.
Oh, yep.
Okay?
Yep.
They had the
Forgot the
tiebreaker.
D-backs were in that mix.
They had the tiebreaker. Okay? This season, the Mets have the division lead right now. Who's to say the Braves don't continue to catch fire and make a run of the division, or the Phillies get hot and they make a run? It's no guarantee the Mets are going to win this division. They don't win division titles. That's the farthest thing from a guarantee that the Mets are going to win the NL East. Okay? So they could very well be in this wild card race, which is going to be brutal with the amount of teams in the National League. This is one of the teams that is absolutely going to be in the hunt. Mendoza's telling me we're not chasing wins in April and May. You're down one run, bro. Okay? That's not chasing a win. You're down one run heading into the top of the ninth. The top of the order is coming up in the bottom of the ninth. And you're leaving Chris Davinsky, who you just called up, in the game for the top of the ninth when you're down one, when you had Reed Garrett, when you had Edwin Diaz warming up. You can't bring one of those guys in. Mind-boggling. And then, of course, what does Davinsky do? He gives up 2 runs in the ninth, and that's the reason why they lost.
Yep. That's a fair point. Boone always chasing wins on the other side of town, but we'll talk about that. No punts, always chasing wins. But the Mets, in a nice way, you get to redo it with the Diamondbacks on Monday. So if we want to talk tiebreakers, you go on the road against Arizona, and you could try and right the wrongs, take 2 out of 3 there, and you feel good about overall the entire week. But to lose the games at home a week before you have to go on the road also sucks.
I just don't understand, again, if this is the A's, let's say this is the A's at home. All right, you don't want to chase the win. Even down 1, fine. But you're facing a team where these games may matter in October. These games may matter later in the season. I don't buy that excuse. And I also don't believe down 1 run, you're chasing a win. Like, you could go win that baseball game. If you're down 2 runs, 3 runs, fine, I get it. That I would consider chasing a win. But this, with the top of the order?
Yeah, and we've spoken about it a few times. You obviously touched on it just now, but the Mets just down to the wire last season. All the people who say it's only April, the games don't really matter. Every game in the season ends up mattering because everyone plays 162, and half the teams end up within 5 or 6 wins of each other in the league. And this year, you look through the NL, we've done it a million times, but just based on the start, there's 3 teams in the East I could see making the playoffs. There's 3 teams in the Central I could see making the playoffs. And there's 4 teams in the West I could see making the playoffs. There's only 6 spots. So it's going to get tight. The easiest path is win your division. That's no lock for any team in this National League to win their division. But the Mets, you want these wins. You want these close wins. And I think Mendoza, with the level of success his bullpen's given him, the level of success his starters have given him, should be going full throttle with the bullpen in 1-run games.
And listen, they're banged up. They're going to lose Minter probably for the year. They lost another lefty in Young probably for the year because they needed to call somebody up to pitch. They had to call that guy up, Brandon Waddell, whatever his name was, Brian or Brandon Waddell. And he comes up and pitches well, 4 1/3 scoreless. But they needed to use Brazoban to open the game. So he gave them 2 innings to start. He's down now. So you're just down a ton of arms. Your bullpen's completely taxed. I understand that. But there's no I hate trying to save certain guys for days when you don't know if you're going to need him. Like, he didn't pitch Diaz yesterday in the 9th inning. And I don't know if I would have pitched Diaz in the 9th inning, to be completely honest with you. But he doesn't go to Diaz in the 9th. Well, he's trying to save Diaz, obviously, right? He doesn't want to waste a bullet. But you might not need Diaz today.
Might win 8-3 today. Might win 8-1. Might lose 15-1.
So that's why on Wednesday, that's my biggest gripe is Wednesday. Thursday, they just didn't hit. I think he managed the bullpen a little weird on Thursday, but I'm not going to get on him for Thursday. Wednesday, you could put that game, honestly, on Mendoza. You really could. You could put that game on Mendoza if you want. And you got to use I think you have to use Diaz. You already had him up. He hadn't pitched in 3 days. What are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? When are you going to use them?
Yeah, who started the game on Wednesday for the Mets?
Brazaban went 2 innings.
It was, right? Okay.
And then they went to what Brandon Waddell.
Yeah.
His name was.
Okay, because I turned the game on in the 6th, and I think Waddell was still
Yeah.
in the game.
He pitched well. He pitched really well for them.
He did. And, you know, it was a day that they needed to hold based on your pitching situation that day. You're hoping 4 runs or less, and you give up 4 runs. That's a really nice day against Arizona, I think. Really good team. Arizona, if you look through their lineup right now, too, they are surprising me with how much a couple of those guys are hitting in that lineup. But, yeah, Gabe's fault. He was at the game on Wednesday, so that's bad luck. I blame Merlo for being at the game Wednesday.
Yep.
That's really bad luck for the Mets.
Yep.
Do you think they win the game if you're not there? I think they win the game if you're not there, but we can't really tell. That's just your luck. But listen, you know, we're sitting here, Mets are 21-10. You lose a series to a good team who at some point I think the Diamondbacks are going to go on a massive run and put themselves in the upper echelon of National League teams. Right now they're only 16-14.
That's your team.
That's my squad. They have one of the best lineups in the NL.
Cattell's hurt.
Yeah, Cattell's hurt, which is real killer for them. You
see Zach Gallen, he's just dominated the Mets and the Yankees and everybody else.
I wanted to bring that up today. He's 2-4 with like a 5 ERA. All of his other starts, he's been terrible. But on the road, in the Bronx and in Queens, lights out.
Lights out. Can't get better.
Flawless outing.
It's brutal.
Against the Yankees, you would have thought like Greg Maddux was on the hill. He was absolutely dominant against
He was better against the Yankees than he was against the Mets. He was good yesterday. He was really good.
Against the Yankees, it was one of the best 7-inning starts we'll see all year.
I got to complain about one more thing.
Yeah.
You need a 6-man rotation, right? Because Mr. Kodai Senga can't pitch on 4 days rest. It's got to be 5 days rest, right?
Yep.
So he goes out there. He goes out there Thursday afternoon. All right. You know, your ace, your guy is on the mound. The guy you got to move things around for constantly is on the mound. And the guy has back-to-back 29 pitch innings. He's at 88 pitches, and he can't get through 5 innings. I mean, it's just, that is infuriating. Infuriating. That you got to do all this moving around for Kodai Senga to keep him healthy, to keep him fresh, to keep him comfortable. And he can't go more than 4 innings yesterday?
I understand that when you look through this rotation, we still can't put a guy like Holmes or Canning or Peterson over Senga, I think, because of what, or even McGill. You can't put them over Senga because Senga was and is the only real high price, high value starter that they've acquired in the last few years. So he is going to have that role of starter. There's no way to bump him out, make him an odd man out, right? But he's got a 1.3 ERA. He's been good. I don't think he's as valuable an asset as Mets fans will try to make you believe he is.
No, he's not, because, and he'll never be an ace. Like, he'll never be your typical ace. He can be the ace of the Mets, but he'll never be an ace because of the limitations he has. Like, people, I've argued with people, oh, he's a 1, he's a 2. He's certainly not a 1. Could he be a 2? At his best, he could probably be a 2. But he'll never be that ace because he's got to have 5 days rest every week, every turn. He can't go deep into games like some guys. He loses command way too often. He's good. He's got great stuff. The forkball is one of the nastiest pitches in the league. But this is a guy that'll never be a true ace.
Yeah. That's how I feel
true
about
aces
him.
Take the ball every 5th day and shove.
I mean,
Garrett Cole.
Yeah, Cole.
That's an ace.
Freed ace.
That's a horse. Those are horses. You can't get on Senga's back. That thing will break instantly.
All right. I had a point today about Alonso that I wanted to make. If you don't see, we do our weekly stats. Now it's May, so I want to go through a couple of the May, just look back to the first month of the Mets. But Pete Alonso, I think, completely getting overshadowed by Aaron Judge. Do you think that's true? Right? Like, I think he's totally in the dark right now, media-wise.
Well, I don't know if it's. Yeah, I guess you could say that. I think he's just gonna be in the dark because you have Soto here, and that's gonna get more attention. And Lindor's off to a great start, and
Yeah.
that doesn't happen usually. So, I think not only by Judge but by guys on his own team, he's sort
That
of
was
getting
actually-
overlooked here.
That was the question I wanted to ask, and I did not phrase it that way at all. Is he getting over? He's getting overshadowed, period. Definitely is. Is it by Judge? Is it by Soto Lindor narratives? Or both? Probably both.
It's both. It's both. You should be able to take, like, if we're going just Judge and Alonso, right? Like, obviously Judge is on his own planet.
Yeah.
Like, it's not even, nobody's close. But what Pete is doing is incredibly impressive. I mean, this is the greatest, start to his career of all time. The greatest start of a season he's had his entire career. He's hitting over 330. His OPS is in the 1100s. I mean, he's having one of the better starts in the entire league, and it is overshadowed by Judge, who's having the greatest start, possibly.
Because
As an offensive player's ever had.
thinking about this during our MVP Lindor conversation last week, and I threw his name in for a second. But if the NL MVP race is wide open, this is the Met that I think is most equipped to win it, because he's got a chip on his shoulder from the way last year went, from the way his contract negotiations all went. Definitely has the chip on the shoulder, and he's 7 home runs, 28 RBIs, he's hitting 342. He's got an 1100 OPS. I don't even need to read you the numbers, but dominant start. This is not normal.
How about this, Kevin?
Yeah.
Last year, he accumulated 2.1 F/WAR. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
This season, he's already at 2.1 already.
Wow. I believe it.
He's playing great defense, by the way, too. His defense at first base, besides for a couple of bad throws, has been unbelievable. The guy has improved immensely. I mean, he's gotten better the last couple of seasons. He has. I'll give him credit. But this season, there's been a stark improvement in his defense. And he's the best picker of the ball in the league. He is.
Yeah, he defensively, I tried to say this last year, and I said it on this show a lot. Defensively, got a lot better than what we were accustomed to with Alonso. Last season, I felt like was the league.
Yes.
And now this year, you're seeing it again.
I'm looking up what JM just said, actually, because I want to see this.
Yeah, JM says, look up Cody Bellinger's April stats from
Okay.
20. Are you sure you didn't mean April stats from 2025?
I have them. Wow. Holy crap.
Okay.
For April and March, I don't know how many games they played in March. This is April and March. 14 homers, 37 RBIs. He hit 431 with a 1398 OPS.
Was that his MVP year, or was it 2018?
I'm pretty
19
sure.
MVP, right?
19 MVP. Let me just check. And
That's
confirm.
a ridiculous start.
Unbelievable. 1398 OPS. That might be better than your guy there.
He's not even doing a 20th of that with the Yankees.
He picked it up a little bit. Hit a homer this
Yeah,
week in this series.
The one game.
Is he back?
Game 1. Congrats.
Is he back?
So the guy goes 3 for 5 on what was it, Monday, and Boone benches him on Tuesday for the lefty match. Like, why, dude?
That's a Boone special.
He's been hitting this guy 3 all year, and he gets the rest the day after he finally plays well.
That's the Boone special. You gotta love it. You live with Boone.
Mendoza learned from the best. Get used to it.
The best. That's the one thing Mendoza doesn't have to worry about. He really, like, his big guys, like, they post every day. Knock on wood, they're healthy.
Yep. Well, that's
but you never have to worry about that.
Of Soto too. It's one of his greatest attributes. He plays every day.
You know what one of his not greatest attributes is?
But
losing the ball in the sun. He can't see the ball in right field right now.
No, he's not a great.
Did you see yesterday? Did you see?
I don't know if anyone ever tried to tell you, but he's not a great fielder. I don't know.
No, it's not even that. His defense has been fine. I'm not complaining about his defense. I'm literally complaining about the fact that when the ball is hit in the air during the day at Citi Field, he can't see it. Like, he's not seeing the ball.
How about that defensive inning that they had on what was it, Monday? It's like the fifth inning.
Tuesday. Unbelievable.
Tuesday. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. Taylor can pick it out there, man. He's great.
Yep, that's his value in playing him.
Really,
right,
he's
let's
also
look-
been hitting a little bit.
Yeah, let's look. I was just going to bring that up. Let's look Mets April stats and March. We're in May now. Your guys through this first 5 weeks, 4.5 weeks of the season, what stood out to you? What's disappointed you? Give me all of it.
Well, I think Nimmo, I mean, he had the 9 RBI game. Nimmo has certainly been a disappointment this season. So is Vientos, although again, they're starting to turn it on. I think Acuna has been a pleasant surprise, like of the non-obvious guys. He can hit, he can play a little bit in this league, a platoon guy. Marte's cooked. Marte's done.
Yeah.
Like no doubts about that. I think the biggest thing is like Lindor being this MVP candidate early. Like, I don't want to say it like that. Like the MVP level player that we saw last season, now carrying it over to start this year is huge. It's huge for them. And obviously Alonso having the best start of his career is what really led this team to, I think, this amazing start.
Yeah, and for me, pitching, I can't believe we're sitting here through a month and these are the pitching numbers. It's just, it's mind-boggling that we have these numbers from McGill, Holmes, Canning, Senga, Peterson. It's, does it last? I have so many questions about it. Does it last? Is it sustainable? Is Manaea going to come in and be great? Because if he's not, you're bumping a guy out who's pitching really well.
I think if they put you in the lab, Kevin, they'd figure something out with you.
I think they would. I'm a very good player, though.
Like, if they got you into the pitching lab, they would have a spot for you at some level here.
Yeah,
that's how good this is. I think it'll be sustainable. I think Holmes is only going to get better as we've seen him only get better as the season's gone on. I obviously am a believer in Sean Manaea coming back and being the same guy he was last season. Senga, I know I just bleep talked him. He's going to be fine as long as he's healthy.
Yep.
And Peterson, I think is like your perfect number 3 starter. I think he's really solid as a number 3 starter. He's nothing more than that, but he's a 3. And McGill's been unbelievable. I mean, I don't think he's going to be this good, but could he be a 4? Because in this scenario, you only need him to be a 4.
Yep.
And then you're talking about 2 other guys in Canning and Montas. Can you get something out of them?
Too. McGill's your guy.
He was my guy. Yes, last season he was my guy.
You know what my guy's up to from last season?
Who was your guy? He's killing it with the Braves.
Verdugo's dominating.
Yeah, look at that.
341.
They sent
I don't think he's
Kelenic
got
down.
yard yet, but Kelenic, disappointing career. Kelenic.
Awful. Mets won the Edwin Diaz trade.
Yeah, Mets did not win the Javi Baez trade.
That looks real bad right now.
That's starting to look worse every single game. Every game the Cubs play, that trade looks way worse.
He got off to such a bad start, too. Like, you texted me something like early in the year. Like,
I was tired of the hype. I'm tired of hearing about PCA.
I'm done with this guy.
I'm so tired of hearing about PCA, and then he dyed his hair, and everybody's acting like the Cubs have the best player in the league, best young star, and now here we are on May 2nd, and he's actually a stud.
Right after I get that text message, I'm pretty sure PCA hit like 3 home runs in a game, and then that was it. It was done.
Unbelievable.
I got to pull up the message. I think I can find it.
Yeah, you can definitely find that, but I'm going to pull up his stats right now.
He's having an unbelievable start to the year here.
Pete Crow Armstrong is his stats 2025 so far: 6 homers, 21 RBIs, sitting 266 with an 813 OPS. He's one of the best outfielders in the league. He's got some good energy too that he brings to the Cubs. I think he's one of those catalysts. They're good too. Chicago can hit, man.
I can't believe. Did you see what they did to Skeens yesterday?
Oh my
Skeens
God.
gave up 5 runs against them or something like that.
And he gave up 2 home runs in an inning. I think it was like the first home run he's allowed since last year, or first multi-home run outing he's had since last year.
Do they like? I don't pay attention enough to them. How do they use him? Like, are they like super careful with him? Do they not let him go deep into games? Like,
Skeens?
I'm not paying. Yeah, I'm not paying.
Yeah, I think he's usually getting yanked around like 90 pitches.
Okay.
90 to 100. Give him 6 innings. but they stink.
I can't find it. I can't find the message, but it was bad.
It might have been on Instagram.
It was literally like,
I might have
done.
sent a DM.
I
But
don't
either
know.
way, yeah. PCA Mets lost that trade.
You sent me an email.
Speaking of Cubs trades, Yankees traded for the most expensive center fielder in baseball. He stinks, but he had a nice week this week. Let's talk Yankees. Losing Baltimore. I'm not pressing the panic button. It's a crappy series to lose. I had a feeling they were going to lose it when this week started. It just going to Baltimore has not been kind to the Yankees the last few years, and this was an ugly one. Their lineup we talked about last week, or on Monday, whenever we did a show, Tuesday morning it was.
Tuesday.
They have all these great stats, but there's a lot more of those 15-run games than it feels like there's a stretch of 7-8 run games.
Yeah, it's not consistent. It's just not
at all.
consistent. And then you're not pitching either on top of it outside of two guys. And this series comes down to the fact that Baltimore cannot pitch to save their lives.
Yep.
And the Yankees, outside of 2 days of the week, are sort of similar to that. You get the 2-run lead early on what day was that? Was that Wednesday? It was Wednesday. And then Carrasco gives it right back in the second. I mean, he gives up 4 in the second, and you're essentially almost out of that game at that point.
And unfortunately,
they scored 3 or 4 in that night. They scored 4.
Unfortunately for the Yankees, I'm tired of even mentioning it, but they lost a lot of guys right before the season started in the rotation. However, there has to be a better option somewhere than Carlos Carrasco. I'm fine with Warren being just as bad, because Warren's a young, homegrown guy that you're trying to see if you can get something out of him. You're giving him a little bit of run here, see if he can get something going. Carrasco obviously doesn't have it anymore. For years.
Yeah. It's been a while. Listen, you're not going to hit a panic button yet over this.
No.
You're going to get Luis Heel back at some point. You got to let Clark Schmidt settle in. You were very hostile towards guy Clark last week, the other day. You got to let him settle back in, and then you assess from there. If Clark doesn't settle back in, then you have a problem. But I think this team in a division that hasn't seen another team really come up and challenge them, like, this is still probably the best team in the American League.
I think they are.
I don't think we're hitting a panic button just yet.
But
over the pitching.
You know, how do we fix it? How is there, like, what's the alternative for the Yankees pitching? Because there's not just guys sitting around that you can just acquire right now to come in at a low cost and pitch well for you. It's just not out there unless you build a pitching lab this week.
No, the Mets are calling up Blake Tidwell. They're one of their top prospects. He's going
nice.
to be
Congrats, Blake.
He's going to be used as a spot starter this week because they need a 6-man over Sproat. Yeah, Sproat's not getting it. I understand what you're saying, and I don't think this is like a quick. I don't think it's a quick fix. Yeah, I don't. Unfortunately for you, I don't think it's a quick fix that's coming.
No, there's just not an option for them.
It's Will Warren has to pitch better, and Clark Schmidt has to pitch better, and then you go from there when other guys get healthy, and if you need another arm, you need another arm at the deadline. That's what it is.
The best available pitcher right now is probably 40-year-old Johnny Cueto when I was looking yesterday. So,
well, that's not going to do it.
That's not going to do it. I'd rather have Carrasco at that rate.
Just keep Carrasco.
But they need to at least start pitching better.
Yeah.
That's kind of the only thing they can do right now. There's not options. And in their organization, they don't have prospects to pull up right now. They don't have guys
Matt
to pull up.
Blake? What's he doing?
Matt Blake, the most overrated pitching coach in ever.
Come on.
Celebrity pitching coach. Everybody loves him, but only 3 guys on the team can pitch every year.
It's
Awesome.
not fair.
Rodon's been great, though. If you want to talk positives from April, Rodon finished really strong his last 3 starts.
Yeah, he looks good. Proving us wrong. Definitely proving us wrong. We were out.
Maybe it's because of the beard, though.
Has he started shaving it?
No.
Or he's growing it?
But I think, he beard in Chicago, beard in San Fran, no beard until now with the Yankees. and he's starting to get good because he started the year, he struggled. Beard wasn't really there yet because he shaved it for spring training thinking he had to.
Right. Well, I thought okay, I guess I have his beard timeline wrong because I thought he shaved it again.
No.
I thought he was one of the guys that didn't know if he was going to grow one or not after they had the rule.
You might be right. I haven't seen him without a beard since the season started.
Okay.
But he's been good. He's got a 3.4 ERA now, getting it down. He's 4-3.
Can we have a Devin Williams discussion for a second? I kind of want to go into this again.
Yeah, I feel like we didn't go too deep into this the other night.
So I'm listening to Joel Sherman and John Heyman do their podcast the other day. They had Cohen on, so I was listening to a little bit of it. And I listened to their intro, and they were talking about Williams and how they moved him out of the closer role, this and that. And they were discussing like how unhappy he looks in the just in the clubhouse before games where it's just the writers in there, right? Like no real media presence, like no TV or anything. And like how unhappy he looks in New York. And they ended up like getting into this discussion about whether or not they could possibly trade him.
Yeah. He does look unhappy.
Is that a possibility? Like you don't even, I don't think you're going to try and recoup what you lost. You're just going to try and get something for him, I think, right now to help you win. But how would you feel if they moved Williams for, a mid reliever and a setup guy?
I wouldn't want them to do it until the All-Star break. I would not want that to happen in the next few weeks. I want to give Devin Williams an honest shot to start dominating here. But if they did move him, it would probably be a 1-for-1 for a rental for the rest of the year just to get an arm in the pen that you can actually use. And you'd be sending him to a team that's saying, we'll gamble on the upside of Devin Williams. And the Yankees try to get like a Mark Leiter back for him in a 1-for-1. But he doesn't look happy at all. And I try not to read too much into post-game press conferences because that's the only thing we see is the post-game stuff. But usually there just feels like there's more of an energy and a confidence about somebody who enjoys their situation. And he does not have it. However, I don't know what he looked like in Milwaukee either. So that's why I haven't really wanted to go here yet because I have not watched press conferences of Devin Williams as a Brewer. So I don't know if he's always been this way. And he's just kind of a cold personality.
But when you have two guys that are in this locker room, basically, I mean, I'm sure they're in it there as much as possible when they're in New York, right? Two big beat writers, two big writers for the New York Post. They're telling you he looks unhappy in the clubhouse. Yes. They're not just saying that. They're not just saying that.
And I agree with you. And I'll even go further with it. Williams doesn't seem like a guy that anybody's gotten along with yet either. There's not really an outpouring of support for the person who's struggling.
But as there should be normally, especially with a guy like Judge being a leader.
Clay Holmes last year would blow a save, and you didn't even have to ask the players a question in order for them to defend him.
Right.
They were defending him right away.
Mm-hmm.
And Clay Holmes, now you know it, he's loved where he goes. Teammates love Clay Holmes. Coaches love Clay Holmes. And Devin Williams, maybe it's because he's new here. Holmes kind of, I know he wasn't homegrown, but he kind of grew up here as a name in Major League Baseball for 3 years. Williams is new. Maybe there's an adapting period. But even Soto started so hot last year, but they loved Soto right away too. And Soto loved the team right away. Williams, there has not seemed to be any bond publicly so far, even on a broadcast like him just sitting in the dugout or the bullpen chatting it up with somebody. You don't see any of that.
And this might be reading too much into it. All of this could be reading too much into it. I mean, he doesn't seem like the kind of guy that possibly wanted New York. I also think he became, and I don't think it was his fault. Like, I don't think he went to Cashman and said, you need to change this beard rule or I want out. But he did become the face of it, right? Like, it's obvious that he became the face of this situation because, he was very upset and was outspoken about it when they went to spring training and he had to shave his beard. That's a lot of pressure. They're changing a rule that is how old was it? 50, 60 years old, whatever it was. Like, they're changing this rule for you, essentially, and I'm putting that in air quotes. Like, that's a lot for a guy that's not used to the big spotlight of New York, coming from Milwaukee. That's a lot.
Yeah, and I think you look at his entire life. Devin Williams grew up in Missouri. He then goes to Milwaukee. He was not a big college baseball player. I don't even know if he went to college. I remember looking, though, he's not. I think he was like a D3 pitcher, if I'm not mistaken.
Who?
But Devin Williams.
Was he really?
I think he was for a year, or he was right out of high school, and he committed to a D3 school. Either way, he hasn't been on a spotlight in his career, really.
Right.
Grew up a Midwest guy, played Midwest with Milwaukee, and now you get thrust into this the biggest North American sports besides maybe the Cowboys.
Right.
The biggest North American sports spotlight. And you stink right away. After, I don't know if it has anything to really do with it, after the most popular player on the other team ended your career with Milwaukee, your last outing. So you come to New York, where Alonso embarrassed you in October and ended your Milwaukee career. And then you're with the Yankees and you got a 9 ERA in your first 10 outings and you're blowing saves, blown 4 or 5 saves already. That's not easy, I'd imagine, for a kid from Missouri who played in Milwaukee, now 30 years old. You get thrust into this environment?
It's not. And some people aren't built the same way. Like, for a lot of people, this is an unbelievable opportunity to go be the closer for the New York Yankees. I mean, who wouldn't want to do that? That sounds like the greatest job of all time. If you're a pitcher or a relief pitcher that loves baseball, right? That's one of the top jobs. But for some people, it might not be. And I don't know how he's made up. He must be built different than others. But if he can't handle New York, man, this is not going to end well. And if they know for a fact he can't handle this situation, because if you're around him and you start to get to know him, the Yankees will find out. The Yankees people will find out, okay, this guy can't handle it. He's got to go immediately. Immediately. You can't have him pitching big games down the stretch.
He was low D1 pitcher at Southern Indiana. So I correct myself there. But yeah, you're right. I think that he clearly hasn't understood how to approach this situation, how to handle this situation. I think he's come in with, I don't know if it's ego or arrogance or what, but he has not made any attempt with the fans yet, even in spring training. Do you remember anything where it was like Devin Williams is pumped to be a Yankee? No.
Even if you're not better, though.
Yeah, but even if you're not excited to be a Yankee, I would just come in and just play the part. Act the part for a couple months. Get on the side of the fans, get on the side of the media, and be yourself the 12 hours a day when you're not a Yankee. But when you're there,
be miserable the other parts of the day. But when you're in front of a camera, please, for the love of God, or in front of fans,
you got to know how to play the part.
Like,
I think Soto knew how to play the part excellent last year, because kind of a similar situation. High profile guy, as high profile as you really can get in baseball. And you come in, and while they expect a different contract, they're both playing for their big contract. Now Williams 30, Soto was 25, but Soto came right in and embraced fans like a player we've never seen before.
Well,
joining the Yankees.
Soto, not only for the Yankees but for other teams, was kind of selling himself.
Yeah,
this is his third team now in, what was it, 4 years. He was selling himself to the rest of the league. Like, hey, I can be this team player that embraces the fan base, and that goes along with giving him a 15-year commitment.
And a lot of the comments that you see now, Soto was happier with the Yankees. Look at this. I don't think Soto's upset at all with the Mets. I think Soto played it up big time with the Yankees in a way that's fun, and he performed, so I don't care. I don't feel slighted. But I don't think he loved and was as obsessed with being a Yankee as he portrayed last year.
And good job by him and good for him. And I'm sure he really liked it and enjoyed his time because he's only said great things about it. But now he's home, Percha. I mean, he's home because he's here for 15 years. So it's going to take some adjusting. And there are times, and I've had, chats with friends who are Mets fans saying he doesn't look happy. He's this, he's that. And he's not off to this great start like he was last season. And, individually. And he's just adjusting. Like, this is new. This is all very new for him, and he's going to be fine. And we saw it the other day, but with Williams, it just doesn't look like he wants to be here.
No, it doesn't look like he wants to be here at all. So I don't think a trade is off the table. I'd go next to Luke Weaver, who's been awesome. If we're talking about April surprises, Luke Weaver didn't give him a run in the first 5 weeks of the season. Still hasn't. He feels like the best bullpen arm in all of baseball.
That's crazy. And no runs for the entire month of April. Reed Garrett almost got there. Reed Garrett might have gotten there. No earned runs. Okay. He gave up the run on May 1st. So he did.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's an easy transition for them, right? It's a low pressure move for the Yankees because you're saying to yourself, okay, we traded for Williams, but he's not pitching well. So we're going to go to a guy. We touched on it last time. That was just nails for them down the stretch last season. Nails, and in big moments in the postseason as well. So it's an easy move for them, and I think it does take away because I do think Boone, like other managers, would like to have the flexibility that Weaver gives you, which is the big spot in the game is in the 7th inning. We got to use him. Or it's in the 6th inning with 2 outs. We got to use him. We're going to push him through the 7th as well if he gets out of it. You want to be flexible with some of these guys, and moving him to just a closer role takes that away.
Gabe mentioned Fernando Cruz earlier in the comments, and Cruz is another one of those guys, 14 outings now, 16 2/3 innings pitched, got a 1.6 ERA, so you feel really good about him. I mentioned Mark Leiter last week, but he's been solid, 2.7 ERA in a little over 13 innings. And then you have Ian Hamilton, who just came back, and he's been in 7 games, 1.9 ERA. He was hurt to start the season. Talking injuries, Stanton got put on the 60-day. So the Stanton thing, I think you said it word for word, they're not going to rush him back. And that's kind of been the consensus, is that why would you? And they're not going to get themselves into this Rice, Goldschmidt, Stanton debacle earlier than they should, and they don't have to. Let Stanton rest, chill out. I don't think they're really losing production right now without him, and hopefully you can figure something out for the three of them to play together 2-3 months from now.
Well, moving him to the 60 IL is just like a procedural move anyway.
Exactly.
I mean, the Mets moved Manaea to the 60 IL the other day. It's literally just so they can open up 40-man spots.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, like, why put yourself in that situation? He's going to play. He's going to come back and he's going to play and he's going to get his at-bats. Maybe they're just kind of sitting here saying one of these guys of Goldschmidt and Rice are not going to be hitting the way they are. And, that's when we'll make our move. I'd probably say that's the most likely outcome.
Yep. And a guy that we really haven't spoken about this year, Trent Grisham's got over 1,000 OPS. He's been the Yankees' second best player after Aaron Judge.
How is this possible?
I have no idea. He's got 8 home runs, 15 RBIs. He only played 25 games. They sit him every third game probably at this rate, but it's unbelievable. He's got a 290 average, getting on base 370, slug 639. Obviously, those numbers will come down the more he plays, but he's been great, and the at-bats are good too. This is not just the same thing as Ben Rice. This is not just a flash-in-the-pan thing where they're getting lucky on contact. The at-bats are really high quality.
Unbelievable. The defense he gives you in center field as well. so it's easy to get him in the lineup because you're getting that plus defense. You're getting the plus defender and center. It was always about his bat. It was always about not having the bat, and now he's got the bat.
Do you think that this affects Dominguez, Bellinger's status in any way, or is it always going to be the two of them over Grisham this year?
No, I think right now you need to play the guy that's playing, that's hot. And if Grisham cools down, then it'll be back to what I think we all thought, which just said Bellinger, Dominguez. But right now, how do you sit this guy?
You can't.
You can't. Let him go cold. Fine. Let him go cold. But if he doesn't, he's got to play.
I'm letting Dominguez or Bellinger sit every day.
Yeah.
Because right now, what are you getting from Bellinger? You're getting a terrible season, 630 OPS. But Dominguez
isn't much
better, but 680 OPS. I mean, these guys haven't been good. So I'm running Trent Grisham out there every day.
Let's take a look at...
I think he's a better defender than both, with respect to the fact that both of those guys have done a nice job in the outfield this year. Bellinger's a great defender. Grisham's arguably the best defensive center fielder in the league.
Well, we'll take a look at Dominguez's stats versus left-handed pitchers. As a righty, he's down to 086. It was 094 last time.
Can't hit lefties. And Grisham, check Grisham's splits if you can pull him up quick, because
he's
been playing a lot against lefties in that day that Dominguez gets benched, and his numbers aren't going down overall. So I'd imagine he's got pretty good splits right now.
Let's see, 2025. He's hitting 258 against lefties. He's an 830 OPS. He's crushing righties.
Yeah, righties. He's Barry Bonds right now.
He's hitting 317 with 1144 OPS with 6 homers. Against lefties, though, he's got 2 homers. He's hitting 258 with an 830. Very respectable numbers.
What frustrates me a lot right now about this, and I hate to do the whole retrospect thing, but you got to a point last season with Alex Verdugo in September where he was unplayable. He was just the worst 9-hitter imaginable. And I don't like Trent Grisham, but as a starter.
Yeah.
But my friends and I were all saying, you got to play Grisham for the postseason. You got to play him down the stretch in the regular season, because at the least you're adding an elite defensive outfielder where Grisham's just good in the outfield. And who knows what you get from where Verdugo is just good in the outfield, but who knows what you get from Grisham's bat. You're getting a great outfielder. You're already getting nothing from Verdugo's bat. Play him. He didn't even get a shot to play.
Right.
And who knows if this hot stretch could have happened in October.
And he's got, I'm trying to look up his postseason numbers. I mean, I know he had the one series against the Mets when he was with the Padres where he just crushed them. But, it's a good point. Getting that guy out there that gives you the best chance to win defensively. Yeah, 100%. I can't find the playoff stats, but.
If you're already not hitting in left field, why not put Grisham out there in center? Because you had Judge playing center and Soto playing right last year.
Here we go. Yeah, no, agreed. Let's see if I can find it. It's just game logs. He's not really a great postseason player, though. Just the one.
I was going to say.
Just
that
the
one home run against the Mets.
One home run. Just 2 home runs, dude. And an RBI in each game. Come on. Get with it.
My bad.
Yeah.
I remember I was watching that game with a bunch of Mets fans, and one of them out of the group was, maybe not well-versed on the rules of watching a game, but watches every Mets game. But when you're watching socially, there's certain things you don't say. And Trent Grisham walked up, and I think he said something like, it's Grisham. He's not going to do anything. Minute later, ball's in the seats.
3 straight days of doing something.
Yeah. Killed them in that series.
Job. Yeah, it's good.
Around the league, I want to touch on a few things. Do you have anything else on the Yankees here? I mean, Chisholm's out. Chisholm got put on the IL, but I don't know, what's really the talking point from that, except, Cabrera and Peraza are probably going to play every day.
Can we go through that stinks. Can we just go through the Judge's last 154 against Bonds' 2001 season?
Judge, yeah, I mean, my God, is this guy insane? He goes 3 for 5, and it's a bad game at this point.
But all right, let's go through this. Ready?
Yeah, I'm not.
I have it pulled up. Bonds' 2001 season. He hit 328 with 73 homers and 137 RBIs, the record, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
His on base was 515. His slugging was 863. His WRC plus, which is weighted runs created plus, an average of 100, was 235. And his F4 was 12.5. Okay.
Yep.
Judge's last 154 games, he's hitting 371. He's got 62 homers to the 73. He's got 157 RBIs, 157 RBIs to the 137. His on base is 17 ticks lower. It's 498. His slugging 784. This is interesting. His weighted runs created plus is 17 points higher at 252. And the highest Bonds ever had was 2002, where he had 244 in 143 games. And the F4, 13.9.
Wow. I mean,
so
it's just I so many different stops. I say there's no way this guy's not on roids. Like these are numbers that we only saw from steroid guys since Babe Ruth.
Like I don't know what to think, because I mean they're better in different stops there, right? Like
yep.
The power obviously goes to Bonds,
but the fact that you can even put them at the table together.
No, it's sickening.
And ironically, both are not good playoff hitters.
Yeah, that isn't
the two best hitters of the last 25, 30 years, the two guys that we'll probably talk about together forever, Bonds and Judge, for their accomplishments that can only be related to each other compared to each other in the modern era, both stunk in the playoffs. Bonds had one in 2002. He had a great postseason. Every other postseason was terrible.
By the way, that's all Judge needs, by the way.
Just one.
Just needs one.
And even if he does, we kind of spoke about this before, but even if somehow he just is all right in the playoffs and they can win a ring, that's all he needs.
Yeah, that's right. Because like we talk about it with Bonds, like you kind of just reminded me of it. But because he had that one postseason, it's not as big of a topic as it probably would be.
Because 2002, he had 8 homers, 16 RBIs, walked 27 times in the playoffs. That's a ridiculous postseason. But in his career, he has one home run in 6 appearances besides that 8 home run 2002 postseason.
That's crazy.
And this is a multiple-time MVP guy who probably has a better. I know that obviously right now he does, but when it's all said and done, I'd be shocked if Judge's career can stack up with Bonds' because of Judge's age, because of, take everything into consideration what Bonds was able to do. But maybe it's different, the conversation with Judge, because he's a Yankee. That might affect his legacy poorly in a way that Bonds didn't have to deal with playing for the Pirates and Giants.
Right, 100%, because there's this expectation that when you're the best player on this team, when you get to the postseason, you have to perform. Judge is on pace right now for 16.7 F4, the highest season, the highest WAR in a season. It's Babe Ruth in 1923, 14.7. It's
crazy.
Is he going to get there? Does he get there? He could get
there.
I
think maybe not to 16, but he could definitely pass 14.
I'm saying I should have said that. Past 14, yeah.
Yeah, he could definitely get there. And, I have a little trouble with the Babe Ruth stats as, like, greatest of all time stats because you only played against white people.
Okay.
That's in baseball. Look at the game now. Every guy we talk about now is not white.
Yeah.
They're all Hispanic or black. And Babe Ruth didn't have to play against any of them. Which, I'm sure he still would have been great.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. Luke Gehrig, those guys still would have been all-time greats and probably put up similar numbers anyways. But I do have a little bit of that's why I kind of only go modern era.
Judge owns a 501 on base percentage across his last 100 games, dating back to July 6th. God. So over that span, he's reached base safely 229 times and he's made out 225.
He's
That's from
honestly
Paul Hembo.
the first athlete, and it's probably has something to do with the fact that I am a Yankees fan and that we're in New York. First athlete that I've actually been able to just say, let's just sit back and enjoy this, because I don't want to criticize him at all. I don't want to say anything bad about him. Even when he struggles in the postseason, like, it's tough for me to muster up saying anything bad about him, because he's the perfect ambassador for the franchise as a human being. It's like the best guy you could possibly have in that scenario. Because even like Jeter was kind of a prick at times.
Yes, Judge is not.
And Judge is not at all. Judge is, because you talk to Red Sox fans, you talk to Orioles fans, Rays fans, Blue Jays fans, Mets fans, there's actually not a hatred for Judge really anywhere.
I don't, and that's the thing. That's the interesting part about it. I was talking to a friend who's a Mets fan the other day, and he really hates the Yankees, like, more than me.
Yeah.
And because I don't even think I would have a hate. I don't think I hate. And I was like, I definitely don't dislike Judge. Like, you can't. It's impossible. I wish he was doing it for another team, because it would be a little bit more enjoyable for me. But, like, it's just, you can't hate him. I don't hate him at all.
Yep. And he reminds me a lot of Trout, because Trout, total class act. You don't even get they hit a ball 460 feet. You don't even get a bat flip.
No.
You just get a jog up the first base.
I think he's better, by the way. I actually,
we were texting about this a little bit. I think he's better than Trout too. I've thought that for a year now.
I think this peak is much better than Trout's peak.
Yeah, and the production numbers are this type of stuff he's doing. We'll probably only see in the rest of our lives one or two guys have a 3-year stretch that we can even say is comparable.
Here, I have it right here. 2022 to 2025. So obviously he missed around 60 games, a little less than 60 games in 23, and obviously hasn't played a full season this year. He's got 29 WAR in that span in 452 games, 167 home runs. He's hitting 313. He's got 1119 OPS. That's in 4 years.
It's incredible. The difference with him and Trout, you can't find a 4-year stretch as good. But Trout has the stretch from 2012 to 2019. That is, what is that, 6 seasons? That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 seasons, 2012 to 19, including both of those years, where he is the best player of this generation for that long of a period of time. I don't know if Judge is going to be able to give us 2022 to 2029 of that.
So you're saying from 2012 to 19?
From 2012 to 2019, age 20 to 27 for Trout. He's a 71.7 WAR on Baseball Reference. He has, this is in how many games? This is in 1,100 games, a little over 1,100 games. He hit 200. I just lost my spot. 280 home runs, hit 308, OPS over 1,000 for that 9-year stretch, 8-year stretch, right, whatever it is, and a 71 WAR. So he's getting almost a 10 WAR every season.
Yeah,
and because this, in this stretch, he's top 2 MVP finisher. All but 1 year, he finished 4th in 2017.
And
led the league in.
That's because he missed games, by the way, that year.
Yeah, exactly. Led the league in WAR in 2012, 13, 14, 15, 16. And he's undoubtedly the best player. This is another difference. Undoubtedly the best player in baseball, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Then Judge and Bellinger and those guys get on the scene, and Altuve wins the MVP, and you start to think maybe Trout's not the best player, but he's definitely up there. Judge has not, maybe in 2022, only year, been the undoubted, no dispute, best player in baseball because of Ohtani.
He's had to deal with Ohtani.
And he might be able to do it this year also. Ohtani's not off to the greatest start. I don't know if he's really going to pitch much this year.
He's not going to pitch.
Yeah, so it's going to be, Judge as the best player in the world by far this season if he stays healthy.
100%. I don't, and even so, like, Ohtani's season last year where he hits 54 home runs is incredible. But there's not even a like player. Yes, of course. If Ohtani's pitching, like I think you need to factor that in, and it's probably Ohtani. But he's the best hitter. He's the best hitter in the league, Judge, undoubtedly. And you asked this question last night to me. I don't know if you're joking or not, but like, who's the king of New York? Is it Brunson or is it Judge?
I think there's a serious conversation. We'll go through it right now.
I don't think it's close, and I don't think it's even close.
I picked Judge, but
it's the only answer.
The only advantage Brunson actually gets, he has two. He's probably the best playoff scorer in the NBA. And everyone is a Knicks fan in New York.
Yes.
There's way more Mets fans than Nets fans. I'd imagine less than 5% of New York are Nets fans.
The only
probably
thing I'll
30
say
plus is Mets.
The only thing I'll say is like the only thing Brunson has is the postseason success. And what I mean by success is that he's right. Yeah, right. Exactly. And the only thing I'm saying is like he's played well in the postseason.
Yeah.
Not even leading a team to a championship. He's just played better individually.
The interesting part about Brunson is the way that he can unify the entire city with his performances, whereas Judge can't do that. However, I still think the Yankees in general are just bigger than the Knicks.
Yes, and Judge is the best player in the sport. Nobody's saying that about Brunson.
No, and Brunson's not second or third either.
Yeah,
Judge is first, and a year that Ohtani has a great year, Judge is second, and then there's a massive gap to three.
Like Judge is a no doubt surefire Hall of Famer. I'm sure Brunson will be, but it's not to the level at this point of what Judge is.
And homegrown. Brunson, while he's loved as much as a homegrown guy, didn't come up with the Knicks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Judge is the king of New York.
I think the king of New York argument comes from Mets-Knicks fans who are trying to claim that they root for the king of New York. Because I don't think any Yankee-Knick fan actually is saying that Judge is inferior to Brunson in the argument.
Say that again?
I think the only people that would start that argument would be a Mets-Knicks fan or a Knicks fan who's not a Yankee fan.
Okay.
Doesn't even have to be Mets. Just maybe not a baseball fan, maybe not.
So like Dennis, this dumbass here. My friend Dennis here.
Dennis, what's Dennis's sports background here?
Just, he's Knicks guy. Knicks Jets.
So exactly. So then he doesn't... Knicks Jets?
Knicks Jets.
That's the worst life ever. And
you know it.
And he has to live the worst life ever because he doesn't get Aaron Judge in his. I get Aaron Judge.
Yeah, no, it's Judge. It's Judge.
If Brunson wins, hypothetically, they're not going to. Knicks win the title this year. Brunson's the king of New York. That's the only way.
Unless Judge comes back and wins a World Series, and is good at it is the reason why. Then yes, okay.
Yes, okay.
Brunson can claim it if he wins the finals, but if Judge wins the World Series, it's back to Judge.
Okay, agreed. Anything else today around the league? Anything?
I'm good. I'm good around the league.
I'm good also. What'd you think of this Texas Rangers game meal that I sent you?
That looks unbelievable.
Like there's a lot going on. You get steak thing, you got tacos, you got obviously not for one person.
I'm pulling
two
it up.
Drinks,
pulling it up on my computer here. Let's see this.
Nachos. How do you feel about the brisket steak at games?
On that thing, holy
because this is the first plate. You know how I am. I'm very snobbish with my baseball food. Obviously, that's been documented on this show. This is the first plate that I've seen where I'd say I'd go out of my comfort zone and absolutely destroy this at a baseball game.
100%. And it's not even like it's messy, but you got it on the bone there. That thing looks unbelievable. Like all I want to do is rip through my computer screen right now and take that and just go to town on that thing.
And you know, like it looks like it's one of those bar seats.
Yeah.
So it's not going to get that messy if you got a fork and a knife and some napkins.
The drink kind of looks terrible.
Drink looks awful.
The tacos, the nachos, I would devour all of that.
I'm trying to figure out what that drink is because it almost looks like some sort of a coffee.
I know it does.
when you
but
look
it's
at the base
not.
of it.
It looks like some kind of alcoholic drink.
But yeah, it
If I had to
definitely
guess,
is.
'cause you got the lime.
Yep.
Oh my god.
Looks great though. The tacos look awesome.
Unbelievable. That brisket. Oh my god. Oh my god. I want that. All right, enough.
All right, that's it.
frustrating.
Burrows episode 46. Wrap it up here. We'll be back next week sometime. We're also doing 25 and under draft next week. So picking our best teams 25 and under, similar to how we did worst contracts. We did a few drafts last year, so we'll be doing one of those. More segment episodes coming out. New stuff coming for BTO Media in the next week. Doing a little bit of a revamp. Couple podcasts getting added. You can check out No Good Take. Giuseppe's been talking NHL playoffs his first week.
Hell yeah.
And we'll be back with some more stuff. But make sure to check out our accounts for NBA content, any NFL stuff, and anything else in the world of sports that might be relevant. We will have it short form. Check out Playbook with Gabe for your short form content, especially during this next playoff run. You want to check out Gabe's stuff. A couple posts every day coming with stats that you might not be aware of, educating you on the Knicks. So thanks for watching. We will be back next week, and we hope you have a good weekend.